Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. The Curse of Oak Island. Dr. Ian Spooner says team is getting close to solving the mystery. Environmental geoscientist Dr. Ian Spooner and the Curse of Oak Island regular says that he honestly believes that the Fellowship of the Dig is getting close to solving the 226-year-old mystery of Oak Island. He's also said that he's committed to solving that mystery and that he's hoping to find the answers so he can help bring some closure for the Lagina brothers. The scientist and university professor has become a regular feature on the show. He's now appeared in 24 episodes. His work on the swamp and in other areas has helped bring a real sense of scientific and academic gravitas to the whole operation. Although, it should be noted there are tons of other super qualified folks working on the island too. Dr. Ian Spooner found evidence of silver at end of season 8. But in a sense, Dr. Ian Spooner became something of a hero at the end of the last season. In what had been a difficult year, his last-minute scientific study revealed the presence of a large amount of silver, buried in the Money Pit area. Spooner tested the water laying underground and found that it was high in deposits of silver, so high in fact that it could only have come from a dump truck's worth of silver buried nearby. This news means that we can reasonably expect a massive amount of Season 9 to be dedicated to digging up this deposit of precious metal. But even before this discovery, Spooner was confident of results on the island. Back in March, the former PhD student gave an interview with his old school, the University of Calgary, and told Deb Cummings, "I honestly believe the research team is getting close to solving the mystery." Spooner wants answers for Rick and Marty Lagina. Spooner also talked about how he and the team on Oak Island are committed to solving the mystery of what happened on the cursed island. "What really went on there?" he asked. "It doesn't have to be a treasure, but we are all committed to understanding what really happened on Oak Island 226 years ago. I want the brothers to have answers." The geoscientist also spoke about how working on the island can be tough work. He said the days were often long, usually 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., and that the conditions were often hot and muddy, and he admitted that he occasionally got a bit testy with the others. Unfortunately or fortunately, he didn't name any names. However, he also added, "But when we're all at dinner that night or in the research center discussing some new find, I see the camaraderie and cooperation it takes to do what we're doing." As well spending his summers working on the island, Spooner is also a teaching professor at Nova Scotia's Arcadia University. Us fans of the show can certainly expect to see Spooner back on the island this fall as he's clearly dedicated to the cause. He also told the university, "Something went on there that in my personal opinion is probably bigger than treasure. What's there is an important part of Nova Scotia's and likely Canada's history. Work has recently begun on the island, so hopefully they've started digging up that silver." The crisp autumn air clung to the shores of Oak Island as the fog rolled off the North Atlantic, creating a scene that could have easily been lifted from a pirate tale. But this wasn't a mere legend anymore, this was real, and it was happening now. Dr. Ian Spooner, the quietly confident geoscientist who had become a key player in the Oak Island mystery, stood with his hands deep in his pockets. His sharp eyes scanned the horizon before falling on the familiar faces of the Lagina brothers and the rest of the Oak Island team, who were busy gathering around the latest excavation site. There was an energy in the air, something tangible, something electric. They were close, closer than they had ever been, and Spooner could feel it in his bones. "We're getting close," he murmured to Marty Lagina, who stood beside him, his face tense but hopeful. Marty turned to Spooner, eyebrow raised. "Close? Close to what exactly?" Dr. Spooner's lips curled into a half-smile. He knew better than to jump to conclusions. After all, Oak Island had been a siren call for centuries, luring treasure hunters with promises of untold riches, only to snatch hope away at the last moment. But this time there was something different. The data didn't lie. Spooner was a man of science, not superstition, which was what made him invaluable to the Oak Island team. While others might have been swayed by ghost stories of Templar treasure, Spanish gold, or even the Ark of the Covenant buried beneath the island's cursed soil, Spooner was driven by facts, by numbers, by sediment samples, and the geological history of this curious landmass, and the facts were beginning to align. Over the past few years, they had uncovered not just random artifacts, a broken coin here, a rusty nail there, but structures, tunnels, and a distinct pattern that suggested something much more deliberate and complex than simple pirate booty. The evidence pointed toward a historical event, a carefully planned operation, possibly involving many people over an extended period of time. And now, after years of false starts, Spooner believed the team was closing in on the ultimate answer. This latest anomaly, Spooner continued, his voice low but sure, there's something beneath us, something big. It's not just natural formation, it's a constructed chamber, I'm certain of it. We've been finding small traces all along, organic material that dates back centuries, layers of earth that have been deliberately disturbed. The groundwater samples show elevated metal levels, and the age of the deposits aligns with a critical point in the island's history. We're narrowing down the exact location. Rick Lagina approached, his face a map of years spent in pursuit of the elusive Oak Island treasure. His eyes, however, held a quiet fire, never dimming, never giving up, despite the years of challenges. You really think we've cracked it, Ian? Spooner nodded thoughtfully. I do. The chemistry doesn't lie. We're not just chasing shadows anymore. There's something real down there, something buried deep. We just have to figure out how to reach it without collapsing the site. The island had a long memory, and it had punished many before them for getting too close. Sinkholes, floods, unexpected collapses. It was as though Oak Island itself was guarding whatever lay below, determined to keep its secrets buried. The whole team gathered around a weathered table, maps and diagrams spread out before them. Dr. Spooner picked up a pen and circled an area on the map where their latest dig had revealed something unusual. A set of stone markers, ancient in their design but unmistakably man-made. These stones weren't random. They formed a crude but identifiable path, leading down toward a point near the infamous Money Pit. If my calculations are correct, Spooner said, his voice rising slightly with excitement, this chamber, whatever it is located below this area, possibly connected to the flood tunnels, but it's deeper than we've ever gone. That's why previous teams missed it. They weren't looking in the right place. A silence fell over the group as the weight of Spooner's words sank in. They all knew the history of this island, how it had tantalized and tormented so many before them. People had devoted their lives and in some cases lost them in pursuit of its treasure. But now, standing on the precipice of what might be the greatest archaeological find in centuries, the Oak Island team felt the full force of that history bearing down on them. Marty Lagina leaned in, his hands gripping the edges of the map. So what's next? We dig? Spooner hesitated for a moment. Carefully. We need to excavate with precision. We're dealing with unstable ground here. If we rush, we could lose everything, not just the treasure, but the entire site. Rick, ever the steady hand, nodded in agreement. We proceed carefully. We do it right. But we do it soon. As the team dispersed to prepare the next phase of their operation, Dr. Spooner remained behind, gazing out at the site once more. Oak Island had guarded its mystery for so long, too long, but science was relentless, and the island's defenses were beginning to crumble, little by little, with each new discovery. The wind picked up, rustling the trees and stirring the air with the scent of salt and soil. Spooner felt a chill run down his spine, but it wasn't from the cold. It was the feeling of being on the verge of something monumental. For the first time in centuries, the curse of Oak Island seemed ready to lift, revealing the truth beneath the layers of myth and mud. And as the geoscientist turned back toward the dig site, he allowed himself a rare moment of excitement. They were close, closer than anyone had ever been, and soon the world would finally know what Oak Island had been hiding for all these years.